Gave it their all. They come up 3 points short as Kansas City is able to get this victory. 6 seasons as a starter for Mahomes, 6 appearances in the AFC Championship game, breaking a tie with Ken Stabler, the Snake. Look at that legend. For the second longest streak of seasons reaching the conference championship game. Brady had 8 straight, the last of which was a victory at Arrowhead. That's the only one that was longer. Afterwards, Isiah Pacheco, Jeff Darlington.
And when that field goal missed, this place, the air came out of it. What was it like for your sideline as you now go to another conference championship?
Oh, it's the confidence and the hard work, the celebrations. You can tell we're all together tonight and just leaning on one another, and that's what it takes as a team.
This was such an interesting game because you guys were so efficient for all but the final few possessions. What did it feel like to you guys in terms of momentum?
Coming out here on pace, just understanding the scheme and understanding we got to get the ball down the field. There's no room for error in this type of game in the playoffs atmosphere, so we just got to keep listening to the coach, keep dialing it up, and keep following the leaders.
A lot of talk in the Patrick Mahomes era. He's never had to go on the road and win one in another venue. What does it say that you guys and Mahomes was able to do that today?
Eliminate distractions. This says a lot. We eliminated a lot of distractions tonight. You can see we got snowballs thrown at us since we got in here. It was not a distraction. We eliminated and handled business.
So you go on the road again to Baltimore. What do you think about that matchup?
Like I said before, to eliminate the distractions, and it'll allow us to be the best.
Isiah, congrats on the win.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
If you close your eyes, that sound a little bit like the quarterback for the Chiefs, or is that just me? Tim Hasselbeck has been with us throughout this season, Saturdays, Sundays, Mondays, whenever we need him. Great to have you alongside. Hey, I said I wanted to see Mahomes on the road, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we saw him on the road. They're 1-0, and they go to Baltimore where the Ravens installed as a 3-point favorite. There were chunks in this game where this Kansas City offense was humming. You mentioned to me as we're watching, they don't have many third downs. Didn't get to third down much. What was the key to the success that they found in this game?
I think they found ways. First, they were running the football well. So Isiah Pacheco ran the football well. That helps, and that was a big part of it. But the other part of it is they were getting Travis Kelce open. We had stretches this season where it was like, hey, they weren't getting him open. They certainly did. And so when you look at it, obviously Mahomes was Mahomes at moments where he was strong in the pocket and he created plays. But you only convert on 1 third down because you only had 5 of them all game. And they had opportunities to get Kelce open here, like on this touchdown. Once, coming out of the backfield on a corner route, they get in the red zone, have a designed screen for him. I thought the plan was great. And if you really look at it, Scott, when you look at like under 23 minutes in terms of time and possession for the Chiefs, I actually think the Bills probably executed the game plan in terms of, running the football well, possessing the football, not giving Kansas City a ton of opportunities, but Kansas City just delivered when they did have the opportunities.
It was trading the lead back and forth, and then the playoffs are the playoffs, right? It becomes every yard is hotly contested, and you see a fake punt that doesn't work, a turnover from Hardman that goes through the end zone, a Diggs can't come up with a deep ball, and then you get a missed field goal and you're Buffalo, and you're sitting there saying, these guys, again, and we're on the wrong end of this. How do you reconcile this if you're on the Buffalo side?
I think the hard part of it would be this. When they watch it again, the missed opportunities are going to make them sick. And the reason I say that is the sure field drop, which is a play way, way down the field. Like that's a catch that, listen, maybe if it is Gabe Davis, or maybe if they're not as banged up at wide receiver, they come up with that one.
Right. Gabe Davis had a huge game in Arrowhead a couple years ago.
The Stephon Diggs drop, like he's been their guy. He wants the ball more in the big moments. He had an opportunity there, doesn't hit it. The play you referenced in the highlight where it's a touchdown on second down, the last drive. Josh Allen just doesn't get enough on the throw, and then the missed field goal. So I like this play right here.
It's a touchdown.
It should, in some cases, that should give you the lead. And so, look, Josh Allen, he's got pressure in his lap, and he gets bumped. I get it. But in some of these moments, and he was fantastic. I mean, he put the team on his back
no question.
A lot tonight. But it'll be those plays when, they say football's a game of inches. It'd be those plays that make you sick and think that's the difference of Kansas City going on and Buffalo being at home.
Well, they've certainly experienced it, that they've been awfully good. But if you want to beat that guy, you want to beat 15 this time of year, you've got to be not just good, you've got to be maybe your absolute best. Josh Allen, on coming up short against the Chiefs in the playoffs again.
Josh, can you kind of put into words the frustration of not getting past that team again in the postseason?
Sucks. Losing sucks. Losing to them, losing to anybody at home sucks.
On the last drive, I think it was second down, you threw it to the end zone, Shakir was there. It didn't look like you wanted to go there, did you? Because it looked like you were kind of indecisive. What happened on that play?
No, I wanted to go there. I didn't have great pocket movement. Just couldn't get into the throw.
What did they do? What did they do? Maybe dial up the run in the fourth quarter to slow it down?
Showing a few different fronts, just maybe a couple bad checks by me.
Losing for the second straight year to happen in your place, does that make it sting just a lot more?
Here, there, it doesn't matter. Losing sucks. I don't know what else to say.
Passing game, what was the problem for much of the night? They really seemed to have a good read on downfield at least. You had a lot of check down stuff, but it was tough to get the ball downfield.
Yeah, I mean, got to score touchdowns. I didn't think we played bad. I didn't think our team played bad. We got to make one more play, and we didn't.
Josh, you guys have been a very good team for a very long time. To get over this hump, be able to get over at this stage of the playoffs, do you think it will take some small tweaks or a bigger kind of change?
Yeah, I don't think it's a big change. I think it's just, again, we gotta find a way to score one more point than they do. And every season, if you don't win, it's a failed season. That's the nature of the business. There's one happy team at the end of the season, really. And when it's not you and you're so close, it sucks.
His answer on the play you were describing, and he said the same thing you did, essentially. He just couldn't step into that throw to Shakir. But if he tries to climb the pocket, then the timing, it's
probably a little late. But I will say this, to his answer, listen, I think that's why he's a great leader for that team. I think it's one of the reasons he's a great player. I mean, look, the reality is his left tackle, Dawkins, got blown back into his lap and didn't get enough on the throw. Mm-hmm. He was asked about the play, and he said, my pocket movement wasn't good enough, wasn't able to get enough on the throw. You see it here. I mean, Dawkins is in his lap, doesn't get enough on the throw. Now, if he can feel that a little bit and give a slight move to his right and then get the football off, then yeah, maybe you're running out of time because, in the window to get it there before you run out of space because of where you are in the field. But that's how close it is. Like, we're talking about this, the difference in the pain that you're hearing in his voice about kind of probably where they felt like they could go. It was that close. It was literally just like not being able to anchor a little bit more by your left tackle, and that was not be able to get it there soon enough.
And that was Jones that was pushing Dawkins back. I believe that was 95 that I saw that was collapsing the pocket just a bit. I also have to believe that on some level there's the frustration that you've seen this team so often and have been essentially their equal, right? I mean, it's coin flip stuff, and it keeps coming up Chiefs. All credit to the Chiefs for the role they play in that, but I have to believe that the frustration is just, you ask yourself, in the game in Arrowhead, like, how'd they get down the field in 13 seconds? And in this one, it's like, your kicker misses kick. Even if he makes it, even if Bass makes that kick, they've got time, they've got Butker. You could have ended up on the wrong end of it anyway, but I don't know if you're the Bills that you're asking yourself, like, what's the referendum on who we are? Like, you're good enough for better than most. It's just not better than them.
And I think that was his answer to say, he's getting asked right away of like, do there need to be big changes for you guys? And he knows. I mean, I'm sure he can feel it. Like, we're right there with this football team. Like, why do we think we need, big changes? We need to make one more play. Here, I think, is the frustrating part, though. The older he gets,
of course,
the comparison between he and Patrick Mahomes, and people talk about their matchups and talk about their matchups in the postseason and all of that stuff. no one's ever going to remember the fake kick. No one's talking about the missed kick. No one's talking about having the lead when you leave the field. That won't be the narrative, right? And so I think as a competitor, that's where it stings even more, is when, if you're Josh Allen saying, and I think this is what he's saying, like, what else can I do, right? That's how he feels. But he does need the guys around him, just like Chris Jones made a play for Patrick Mahomes by putting pressure on Josh Allen. Guys need to step up and make plays. Marquez Valdez-Scantling right here, contested catch.
Give him a ton of credit, right? This is a guy that the thing that he was remembered most for this entire season was the drop against Philadelphia on Monday night. Twice he made contested, difficult catches where Mahomes trusts his guy and makes plays that are part and parcel in drives that ultimately lead to touchdowns, give them the 3-point lead, which ends up standing up thanks to a missed kick. Just how skinny the margins are, you know what I mean? Like, that's what makes it so compelling. I'm sure the Bills are sick and tired of it, but for us, it's just remarkable theater, isn't it?
It is, and I think that's why you hear the anguish in his voice talking about how close they were. I also believe this, when you look at the Bills, like, what happens now? Like, what is the response to this? I think it's significant. You know, when you hear Josh Allen talking about, we don't need some big change, we are right there. I think the team weathered some pretty significant storms this season in terms of
They're 6-6.
6-6.
Yeah.
You know, pressure on their coach. There was a lot, injuries. There was a lot to it, and but how they respond this offseason, what they do, who they add, who's still around, I think that will be telling.
I mean, you mentioned the coach, and they, you know, obviously had the whole deal that comes out and the timing and the letter about 9/11, which went back years and all the rest of it. And then they've been in playoff mode since they were 6-6, you know. But they lost last year on that field in the snow globe against Cincinnati. Now they lose against this team on that field. I mean, if someone's gonna, I'm not calling for a coaching change. I'm not saying that makes sense to me. But you know how things go. Like, if you decide, well, we have to go in a new direction, you know what I'm saying? You're a little late in the game because, like, you know, you got OCs out there that have had interviews with every team in the NFL. Like, you're at the back of the line if you want to suddenly change that.
Listen, if I'm in charge in Buffalo, I'm saying the way that they were able to right the ship after being
I'm with you.
in that spot, changing offensive coordinator and getting to that point.
You could lose that guy, though. You could lose Brady.
But more encouraged than discouraged.
All right. Andy Reid has stepped to the podium on the road. They will hit the road again next week to take on Baltimore as they get the 3-point win in Buffalo.
All right. So, listen, as far as the injuries go, Mike Edwards had a concussion. Willie's neck, he had tweaked his neck, and that was bothering him. And then Joe Tooney hurt his right pec. So, but are we good back here? You guys good? All right. All-Tide Classic again. Every time we play one of Sean's teams, it comes right down to the end. He's done a phenomenal job here, and a phenomenal job this year, like Coach of the Year level coaching. And if we don't play them again, I'm good with that. But I'm so proud of our guys and the job that they did. Just one heck of a job. You know, the sidelines were so positive, which I thought was important in this game. You knew it was going to be a tight game just because of the caliber of team they've got, and it was. And our guys just kept their composure through the highs and the lows of the game. They supported each other. Defense started off a little slow, and then they picked it up. I'm so proud of them and the job that they did in that second half. Spags had a great game plan. And the guy, he made a couple of little adjustments there, and the guys did a nice job of that. Offensively, you know, the job that our offensive line did, that's a good group, nine defensive linemen that can play, and they rotate those guys, so you're hitting fresh bodies every time that every series that you get them. I thought our offensive line did a nice job. Patrick and Kelsey, with the record that they broke there, with Gronk and Tom, I mean, that was a great job there. Kelsey had 2 touchdowns and some big catches. It was great to see Marquez have a game like he did. You know, he's taken a lot of heat, and he just kept hanging in there and came up with some big catches. and then Pacheco. So Pacheco is a beast, runs so hard, and then Clyde stepped in and had a couple great plays for us there too. But to put the hammer down at the end with those couple runs and get the first down and in the game was a big thing there. So, and then Nagy's game plan, like I said, was so deep on the offensive side. And there was plenty of stuff even left over, and we said we were going to empty the chart today and run everything, and we didn't run out of anything. So it was a great job by him. And then Dave Tobe, with the exception of not getting Chanel's helmet on for a kickoff, he did a great job. But Chanel came back and ended up getting, stopping the fake that they had. So, but I think. That's about it. So time's yours.
Andy, you like that rule where you fumble and the ball goes out of bounds?
Yeah, well, listen, he's had so many big plays for us over time, and on that play, but you can't reach out. That's he was trying, so you give him the effort, but we know that you can't do that down there because of that reason. And so you got to protect that football, and he'll get better for that.
Hey, what happened in the second half with your run defense? Because they seemed to run a lot more effectively in the first half, and it changed.
Yeah, so I thought the guys, this sounds ridiculous, but the technique, Joe was emphasizing using the hands, separating and making sure they could see things. They were getting tied up in these physical matches with these guys, as opposed to separating and then using their speed, take care of business, and then at the same time controlling their gap. And then I thought our linebackers, whether it was Bolden or whether it was Drew, made some big plays. Chanel made some big plays. Our safeties, you saw Reid step up and had some nice hits there.
It was interesting looking at the coaches who were involved this weekend in terms of how much playoff experience they have or don't have. You get a matchup next week, Harbaugh and Reid, of the two most experienced this weekend, and they'll carry that with them into next weekend in Baltimore. As for Reid, the 24 playoff victories, the second most all-time, trailing only Bill Belichick, who has 31.